been in the court seeking death penalty when you were with you and Mike Green?
Mike Garino and I tried. Galen George Walby.
And then you've got another one coming up next year. Is that right?
We have the Cherry Hill capital murder of the 8-month-old infant, the man that came over from Brazoria County and killed his infant. That is a death penalty case, and that will probably be the first death penalty case again since I think Robert Allen. I think it was Robert Allen Shields' case was a death penalty case that was tried by Mr. Garino while he was still here, which was after the Valby case that he and I tried.
Do you remember the year on that?
Of Shields?
No, Walby.
I think Walby it's either 94 or 95, I think. And it was recently sent back to us, sitting in my office again for appellate reasons.
Away from, your opponents use it too, but there is an ongoing kind of drumbeat from a lot of the police of a general frustration. They say that there's not the relationship there was between the DA's office and officers on the ground when they're investigating cases, or just coming over in more of a partnership there. I think you've seen that with the endorsements that have been going on. That's the charts that's lobbed out there.
Right.
What's your response to that? I mean, you've been in the office for a long while. You were the number 2 guy, when Garino was there. And they seem to refer back to when Mike was, and when it's that. Has there really been a change in your mind in that approach? If there is, you think it is hurting efforts? Or do you think it's just...
Do you have, and this is the question I've asked when I've
well, if you want an example,
I've heard it.
The Mike Hansen case.
Give me an example of
the Mike Hansen case is one exactly that Santa Fe has expressed. The officers there have expressed frustration.
Tell me what you're saying it very fast.
The Mike Hansen case in Santa Fe. This is the guy with the gun in the lap, shot in his truck. That not only that that case, the evidence was turned over to the DA's office, and it took what a lot of officers there have said, it took a while, too long to get to the grand jury. And that's just one, when you ask for an example, that's the one that comes to the top of the mind. But there is a general sentiment.
Mike Hansen took too long to get to the grand jury.
That's
a surprise to me. We routinely met with the chief. We also met with investigating officers. We don't go to the grand jury until we have all the evidence that we'd like to have, and I don't know who you're getting that from, but
the chief was quoted in our paper saying, "Hey, we turn over the DA. We have no control over."
Did the chief tell you that it took too long to get to the grand jury? That's my question.
Well, he insinuated it. I mean, no.
That's your interpretation of what he said.
Well, let's. I mean, we're going to make this combative.
No, I'm not combative. I never heard it from him. I sat across the table from him on more than one occasion, talking about where we need.
When addressing frustrations,
right?
That particularly from the family complaining that it wasn't getting there. He said, "We have turned it over to the district attorney, and it's up to them to get a timeline." Now, as you know, there's folks that have to work together, and the law enforcement particularly.
Yeah.
That it's more insinuation than it is anything else.
Right.
Did he use the exact words? "It's taken too long," but he was very, him and his captain both insinuated, "Hey, it's out of our hands now. We turn to DA, and if it takes a while to get over there, that's up to the DA." So it's a throwing under the bus thing. So that is
okay,
the same.
Just let me get to it. There is no rush to get something in front of a grand jury when it involves the death of anyone. There's no rush to get any case in front of the grand jury until I'm satisfied we have everything that we need to have done. The case that you're referencing had a lot of questions that had to be addressed with his Miss Sweeney. And we've met with her on several times in preparation for that case too. And Mr. Hall, as a matter of fact, was responsible for presenting that case. And that case was not delayed, in my estimation, for any reason. And you might, Mr. Hall's out of town on military leave right now, but I would encourage him to make himself available to address that specifically. But on my watch, that case wasn't delayed for anything other than having every piece of evidence that we wanted clear for the grand jury. And law enforcement endorsements, and this is not just me. My staff, when we talk about that, it hits us in such a way that we want to know what is it that we can do better? What is it that we're missing? Because we're there at every major crime. We've got the intake DAs there at every major crime. We're involved in investigations. We've successfully prosecuted a number, not just a few, but a number of cases. I mean, every capital murder case we've had since my watch has been successfully prosecuted because we've been involved with the law enforcement agencies. And we haven't heard, and I think that this is probably the most disappointing thing in the event, is that we haven't heard from individuals what is it that's not going right, Are we at fault for not going and asking, is there something not going right? Maybe that can be put on us a little bit too, but I'm not sure that I've ever had every endorsement. But I'll be honest with you, after the amount of time that we put in at this office and the work that I see my employees doing and the prosecutors working hard to get their cases done, it was not just disappointing to me, but it also disappointing to our staff. And that support wasn't there. So is it something to be addressed? You bet it is. It's something to be addressed because I think it surprised us all. And we will be looking at it, provided we have that opportunity.
And that's part of it. Is there a perception problem that's going on?
I don't know who votes. I know I don't know the number of people that vote, but obviously those that did, there's something to be looked at,
Right.
And it's not going to be addressed before November 2nd.
Right.
Are we continuing to do what we've been doing? You bet, and we will continue to do that. But depending on how the election turns out, I guess we'll make that effort to address the unions. I do not.
Well, I don't know if it's the union side. That becomes the voice.
It does
for that frustration.
Right,
I mean, that's
right.
Who votes in the unions, like you said. Not every officer really active, and sometimes it's because everybody else in the room is doing something, then they just don't want to buck the system. But just that's a voice for what seems to be general frustration.
There's no escaping the fact that the DA's office is the highest law enforcement agency in the county, and the fact that not every law enforcement agency union, police officers union, has lent their support to our candidacy means something to us, and we're not ignoring it. We're pleased that we did receive the endorsement of the Sheriff's Office Association, but those other concerns, I think even Sheriff Poore doesn't routinely get everyone's either. But we'll be looking at it, and we'll address it individually, because it does no one any service to just ignore it, walk away from it like it doesn't mean anything.